Welcome to the post-playthrough reaction of A Story About My Uncle. This post-reaction playthrough is a bit different from all the others, as in that unlike all the others, it isn't recorded directly after I played it. Because with most games, I do it either during the credits or just after the credits or something like that. With A Story About My Uncle, it left me with so many things to think about that I wasn't ready to do it yet. So what was that so many things to think about? Well, for people who know me, they'll know that I'm normally not that big a fan of linear games. Probably a bit odd if you look at what games I have played on this channel, but well, normally I don't like or don't really see the point to playing games that are completely linear. Something like Portal, I mean, the story is nice to, to play through and the puzzles are nice, but generally I don't really see the point of having to play it. I mean, why not just watch it as a let's play? I mean, it's not like a lot changes really, but with A Story About My Uncle, that idea of linear games is kind of challenged. So, as you have probably heard in my Let's Play all the time, I love this game. This has been one of the best games I have played in a pretty long while. And, well, I don't like linear games, yet this has been one of the best games I have played, I feel like ever, for some reason. And I find it hard to pinpoint why. Why is this game the game that challenged my idea of what a linear game, on if linear games are even worth a damn thing? Why is this game the game? What in this game was so challenging about that way of thinking? And this has been why this video, is recorded so long after I actually finished the Let's Play. And I think there are a couple reasons why it challenged my way of thinking it so much. One is the gameplay. It's insanely good. And it's hard to explain, and I think it is a type of gameplay that you actually have to play to understand it, to know what it feels like. The adrenaline surge every time you do your last leap and then fly towards the platform. It's so good. And it's not explainable. This isn't the type of adrenaline surge that, the panic that I can have with my fear of heights, which I'm oh so happy that doesn't trigger in games, because oh my god, this game would have been unplayable with that. The gameplay, it's amazing, and yeah, it has to be played to be understood, unlike a puzzle game where, unlike Portal, which is a puzzle game where if you see the puzzle, you can think, oh yeah, that's clever, or you can think, oh, so that's how you do it, or if you manage to see it, you can figure it out before the Let's Play does, and then think, haha, I figured it out. Yeah, which is the exact same reaction as you get when playing it. In this, there's a bit more skill in it, and yeah, it really is a game that you have to play to really understand. The second thing is, I don't know what to call them, the revealing moments, just the moments of whoa. Yeah, insert Matrix joke here, but those moments, there were so many of them. I think every introduction into an area was one of those moments. The one that stood out to me the most was, the two that stood out to me the most were the reveal of the worm, which was just epic, just holy fuck, that thing is huge! And the moment of, which I think kind of typifies this game, of where you finally go outside of the cave. That moment, oh my god, whoa. yeah, it's really bloody good. I love that moment. That was the moment that made this game for me. And I think that is really something that, well, you can only achieve with a single player game. I mean, Skyrim, for instance, also tries those moments. When, for instance, you come up to the statue of Azura. That's a pretty big thing to see. Or some of the underground places, some of the Dwemer places. Or the big caverns in the Nordic ruins. I mean, those are pretty impressive, but very few of them, if any, make me go, whoa. And also a thing that, well, that I think that games in general just do better than other forms of media, so also better than Let's Plays. Really, the feeling of traveling. You really feel like you're traveling from place A to B in this game. I mean, this is something that open world games can do just as good. I mean, if I play Skyrim, I don't fast travel, and I really get that experience of traveling from point A to point B, because I am actually traveling from point A to point B. It actually takes time, and that is something that, at least the story about my uncle, did really well. I think for a large part because there isn't a lot of fighting. I mean, a game I kind of have to compare it to, because to many people it's the epitome of single player games, is Half-Life 2. So I'm probably going to get a lot of shit for this, but I don't get what people like about Half-Life 2. And the travel in Half-Life 2, well, to me it didn't work because you're fighting all the time. There's not exactly a lot to fighting all the time that makes it in any way really impressive. I mean, you don't get the feeling of travel, just like I'm not really getting the feeling of travel in something like Dark Souls, because you're not traveling, you're fighting. In Skyrim, you actually travel. And in this, I really got the sense of travel. And I loved it. It really was a case of just gameplay and story go hand in hand. The story was, you're traveling around this place to find your uncle, and the gameplay was traveling around. They just matched perfectly. And the last thing that I did really like about this game was the story. I mean, I probably should have known that this game was, well, at least aimed for a good story with a title like A Story About My Uncle, but it mainly looked like a game with great gameplay. But no, it had an insanely good story, and that did intrigue me. And it didn't really intrigue me in just the main story thing of it. I mean, really the main story of it just was travel around and hope you come across your uncle. The story itself was incredibly simple, but there were so many elements of it that just were actually really intriguing. Just the world itself was intriguing. How does it actually work? Did they know him from the start? How did these people come here? What's the deal with this world? It was all very intriguing. Just throughout my playthrough, you hear me talk about that all the time. It's something that was always on my mind, which added a lot to the game. And another side of the story that I really liked is this actually real? Or is it just that? Is it just a story? And I know that it's not actually real, that it's just a game, but in the world of the game, is this story actually happening? Or is it just a story that the father made up? Which was also a really nice way of doing it. Just the entire thing was a story told to the kid, yeah. Something that I didn't show in the Let's Play, but is also that I really liked about the game was, if you go to the quit menu and then you get the menu of "Are you sure?", you get a text saying something like, what do you say? Shall we continue tomorrow? That was amazing. That was just really... That was one of those moments of, okay, so I'm closing the game now. I'm in a menu. Game stops. Nothing is happening. But no. Actually, going into the menu kind of was part of the story. And if you then say no, then the kid will say, no, please, something like, no, please continue. That was amazing. And what you probably want to hear as well from me is my conclusion. Was it all just a story, or was it actually real? I questioned it throughout the entire game. The thing that makes me question it the most, I think, which also made me take some time with this video. And I know that this video goes up directly after I upload the last part of my Let's Play, but I'm not talking about when I'm uploading this video, I'm talking about when I made it. Because, well, right now, in this moment when I'm recording this, the Let's Play was done weeks ago. I finished it weeks ago. And I'm only now doing this because it has been on my mind all that time, and I'm trying to kind of think of what I wanted to say, and even now I'm not completely sure. But yeah, the thing that really threw me off was the very end, where you go into the house of your uncle once more as a grown man, and I loved how you were actually big. And then you walk around and, well, you narrate it, but not to your kid, just more the inner thoughts of your character. And you have a letter for your uncle that you then put near the machine and let go. And it flies up to space, or it flies away to the other dimension, the other worlds, whatever it is. So that really puts it in the camp of it really happened, but there were so many elements of it that were just unrealistic. And my conclusion of it is, I think that the uncle died on one of his adventures, and this story is kind of the thing that the father as a kid made up to kind of easily cope with that loss. And that even when he is now an adult, that when he knows, when he, I'm pretty sure, has accepted the truth, that he just kind of sort of holds up that fake idea for himself. Not that he thinks that, but just because, kind of. And the reason I think that is, well, it explains all the strange things that happen. Because they actually didn't happen, they were thought up by him as a kid. And also, a pretty big part in that for me was, I mean, a large part of the story I could buy. The one thing I really didn't buy were, well, one, the amount of supplies the uncle had with him all the way, but also, at some points, your rocket boots get, well, broken. And then later on, you repair them. How does a kid learn how to repair rocket boots that are made in another universe, other world, by a completely different race? Unless it was just kind of cleaning them up, but now I'm second guessing myself again. But yeah, I don't think that the story actually happened. That it's just something the father made up as a kid when his uncle disappeared. And maybe he didn't die, or maybe he did die but nobody knew. He just disappeared. But I don't know, and I'll accept either one, and in the end it doesn't actually matter what is true, what the intention was. If the intention was it was just a story the father made up, that's fine. if it was, the idea was, it really all happened, that's fine too. And you know what? They made a game in which both answers can fit. And I love that as well. It kind of was a thing of, let's get the theorist in everyone working a bit. And I really appreciated it. And yeah, now that I said it, that also has to be something I have to mention. The difficulty curve in this game, oh my god, it was flawless. You start up having very few powers. You just have the jumps and one time the grapple. And then they keep building on that with 2 grapples, 3 grapples, then you add the rocket boots. It's just, you keep getting more tools and the puzzles or the terrain becomes more difficult accordingly with it. Basically meaning, hey, you get more tools, now get good with those new tools. And the more tools you have, the more complicated you can make things. But then you go to the ice caves, and there it's, yeah, you now have all the tools, now we're going to make it difficult for you. With the rule of, you cannot grapple onto any surface anymore. Meaning that you have to watch out for points you can actually grapple to. And this surprisingly didn't make it more linear, but it did make it more challenging in a way that it wasn't normal ice level difficulty. It wasn't you lose control of your character. No, you still had all the control, but how do I say this? You could no longer do everything. You still had full control, but you couldn't do as much as you could before. Yeah, I know, this sounds really much like they took away control, but they didn't took away control, but they took away what you could do. Yeah, it sounds really much the same, but it somehow wasn't. And then they disable your rocket boots for a while, which was something that you first learned to rely on, but it was in almost all places an optional thing. It was something that, well, kind of was there to help you get through a difficult situation. You missed a grapple or something, you could often rocket boots to the next thing. It was a failsafe in many places. Something goes wrong, you can then rely on your rocket boots to make up for that. And then they take it away for a bit, so yeah, you no longer have that one error margin, which makes it more difficult without making it a lot harder. And without making it unfairly hard. And then they introduced the mechanic which I really liked, the crystals that you could drain. Meaning, now you have a much higher amount of grapples, but you really have to pay attention to way more things. Not only do you need to grapple to the things to fly across the space, you also need to keep an eye on how many charges you have and where you can recharge them. This was such a brilliant mechanic as well. It really is a game where I loved everything about it. And the characters, oh god, I can probably talk for, well, it really didn't have a lot of characters. I mean, it really only had 3 characters. The old guy in the village, Maddie, and your uncle. And 2 of them you only saw for one scene. But they did their job perfectly. But, well, the unedited version right now is already edging towards half an hour, so I really need to shut up now. Yeah, just, oh god, I love this game, and I think even if you saw my entire Let's Play, which if you watched all of this, you probably have, still, play this game. It's amazing. Just play it for the gameplay alone. It's amazing. Oh god, I love this game. Yeah, like I said, this might have been one of the best games I've played in years. It really is right up there with Dishonored, Skyrim. And yeah, now also there's a story about my uncle. Which is a really strange list because those 3 games have very little in common. But oh god, I loved it. Just, yeah, I loved it. Go play it. Go buy it so people get the idea of, hey, people might actually like this. And yes, I saw some of the technical difficulties. I saw all that, but why focus on that? What's that gonna help you? And none of them were actually bugs or something. None of them were going to break the game or something. They were all just minor loading things that, when things were very far away, they wouldn't really... Sometimes strange things would happen. None of it mattered. Just none of it mattered. So why would I have focused on it? But yeah, now I'm over half an hour with the unedited version. So yeah, amazing game in every way. I'd give the advice, go play it. Amazing. I suck at outros. This has been Vinix, saying this was amazing. I mean, saying farewell.